Hello, everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzijden, and this is Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. Thank you so much for watching and joining in tonight, watching on Facebook Live and listening on Blog Talk Radio. I am a registered medium at Lilydale, and I'm also a certified intuitive life coach. And my passion is to help people live the life of their dreams, live the life they want to have. And we are going to be talking about handling uncertainty tonight. But before I get to that, I do want to give you all the details that I usually forget to tell you. You can connect with Lilydale at lilydaleassembly.org and on Facebook, Lilydale Assembly Incorporated. And I have heard that the program book should be coming out in the end of March, I believe. So we'll see if that's the case. People who are watching, if you could just let me know that you can hear me and everything is good, that would be awesome. On Facebook, I'm talking about, because I just want to make sure I'm in a new location and I want to make sure everything is working as it should be. So you can connect with me on my website, colleenvanderzijden.com, or a quick link, psychicmediumcolleen.com. And also you can follow me on Facebook right here on my page, Colleen Vanderzijden, medium and intuitive life coach. So today we are going to be talking about handling uncertainty. We have all experienced uncertainty in so many different ways. Hi, Steve. Thanks for letting me know it's all good. I'm just going to do a quick text here to Celeste and make sure she's seen me. Celeste, have you seen me? I hope so. She usually shares the show to the Lilydale page so people know that I'm live. So we are going to be talking about this uncertainty. Everybody has experienced uncertainty. And when we have uncertainty, we feel uncomfortable. And uncertainty can be emotionally painful. Really, what uncertainty is a fear of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. So we have this fear of it. And our brains naturally go to looking for the worst in our situations. It is a negativity bias that is inherent in our brains. Everyone has it. I don't know anybody who doesn't, and scientifically it has been proven that that is the case. So we have this negativity bias, so we're always looking for the worst outcome or the worst situation, and we worry and stress about things. So we don't know what's going to happen, and it's kind of like stepping into the dark. You know, when we go into the dark, some people are afraid of the dark because we don't know what's hiding in there. We don't know what's hiding in the dark, and we don't know if there's a threat in there or if something's going to get us. So we imagine these threats. And when we imagine these threats, we don't feel safe. So today we are going to be talking about some mind shifts, some ways to shift your mind to start looking at uncertainty from a different angle, because we are very uncomfortable when we have the uncertainty. It's painful. No one likes uncertainty as far as I can tell. And if we can move into accepting uncertainty, we're going to feel better. That's the ultimate goal, is to feel better. Many years ago, my then husband and I were struggling with infertility. It was a huge deal. I had wanted to have children for quite some time, and I waited until I had finished my master's degree so that I could do that. And then, of course, it didn't work. And this was all I thought about. I was so focused on this, trying to make it happen, you know, seeing doctors, everything. And this went on for several years. Okay, so several years of me being totally focused on that one specific outcome, that outcome that I was going to have biological children. And that was literally the only thing I thought about. Now, obviously, as it wasn't happening, it became more and more of a struggle. And I went into this state of depression. And I had this fear in the back of my mind that, what if it never works? What if I don't have children? What if I never have children? You know how our minds can go crazy and we start looking at all of these negative things. We start thinking like this and we get going in our heads. And I felt horrible. I was anxious, depressed, worried. And the more attached I became to that specific outcome, the more pain I experienced. I was so stuck on that outcome, I could not get out of it. It was a horrible experience, and I would not wish it on anyone. So being attached to a specific outcome is great if it's not the only option we have. It's wonderful to have goals, dreams, plans, all of those things. But we have to leave room for the universe to provide us with other options, other opportunities. If we're stuck in one outcome, we only want one outcome, then we are going to get stuck in our emotions. And that's what happened with me with my infertility struggle there. I was so stuck in that outcome that I couldn't see anything else. I was stuck in those emotions. And when you're stuck in the emotions, the worry and the stress, the catastrophizing, the fear of the unknown and the negative what ifs, all of that stuff just weighs on you. And it like clouds up your energy field and you can't think clearly. You can't get past the emotions. So we get stuck there. Accepting uncertainty is not easy. It is not easy. We naturally resist whatever we're dealing with, whatever uncertain situation we have. Some people, and this is just a little aside, some people actually resist the positive things in life too, not just the negative. They also resist the positive. They're the ones who say things like, oh, this isn't going to last, it's too good to be true, and all of that. So some people do that. But for the point of today's talk, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm focusing on those negative fears of the unknown and that uncertainty and how it affects us. Now, before I continue, I just want to check and see how we're doing. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. As you probably figured out, we are talking about handling uncertainty tonight and how uncertainty is everywhere. And in case you don't know who I am, I'm Colleen van der Zijden, a registered medium at Lilydale, and this is Lilydale Radio. And I like to talk about different ways to look at our lives so that we can be happier, living the most fulfilling, meaningful life we possibly can. That is my passion. That is my purpose, is to help guide other people in their life journey so that they can be as happy as possible. So, getting back to uncertainty. Uncertainty is everywhere. It is everywhere. Change is constant, and with it comes the uncertainty. Now, every day we wake up in the morning, usually, and we look at our day and we don't immediately, usually, go into worrying. We don't wake up and go, oh my goodness, I hope the sun is shining today. Oh, I hope I have water. I hope I have hot water. I hope I have electricity. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. What if my car doesn't work? What if my computer doesn't work? We don't do that. Now, of course, there are probably some people who suffer from an anxiety disorder who may do something like that. And I'm hoping that if any of you do, that you get some help for that, because there are strategies a counselor could help you with. But most of us wake up and we expect the sun to be there. We expect our car to work. We expect these things to be there because that's how it's always been. That's our experience. We trust those things to work the way they're supposed to be. And because our history shows us they have worked in the past, usually, of course, we have those odd moments, but for the most part, they've worked. It's not a priority for us to step into that fear of the unknown in that case. For me, with the infertility, I would have done much better if I had gone to get counseling and had somebody guide me through this, but I didn't know better at that time. So here with this uncertainty, and we have uncertainty about all sorts of things, we can go on and on about the potential situations that we could worry about. But many of those things we don't worry about because history shows us that this problem is small or it's not going to be an issue, and we aren't as attached to a specific outcome. Now, a couple of years ago around Christmas, I remember this clearly, my internet wasn't working and I spent a good 4 hours on the phone with these people trying to get them to fix my internet. And when I woke up the next morning, that was what I was worried about. Is my internet going to work? Because I had a radio show that night and I wanted to make sure it was going to work. So if we have something that goes wrong, immediately we'll start to trigger that uncertainty, worry, that fear of the unknown. Now, because we've had this history of not having problems with most things, we just don't get attached to that specific outcome, so we worry about it so much. Now, here's a bonus thought. If you struggle at times with uncertainty and the fear of the unknown, you might consider reviewing your history about the times in the past where you worried for nothing. You can remember yourself worrying over a situation. And then later on, when the situation was resolved, you thought, wow, that was a waste of time. I shouldn't have worried about that. And if you can look back and see those times that you had worried, but it came out okay, it can help you kind of step back a little bit from worrying about whatever you have now, because you're starting to get that idea that things are probably going to work out. You're starting to move into trust there. So that might help you release some of your fear of the attachment and specific outcomes and the fear of the unknown. Doris Lynn is saying, analyze your dreams. There are clues to your situations. And Doris Lynn, that is amazing. Yes, it is so true. If I'm having a problem before I go to sleep at night, sometimes I'll say, okay, universe, God, angels, everybody, just give me a hand here. This is what I need to feel. This is what I need to experience. And notice I'm using the word need because that's a human thing we do. I would like to experience this. I have a greater understanding of something. And then you set it aside and you trust. And you may get a dream, you may get a message, you may wake up in the morning and have the answer. And that can help you. It really can help you deal with some of this uncertainty. So you could ask a question of, the whole reason uncertainty bothers us is we want reassurance. We want to know what's going to happen, and we want to know we're going to be okay. So it's nice to ask the universe, God, the angels to come and give us some reassurance for that. And frequently they do. As long as, there's always a qualifier, isn't there? As long as you're not attached to that specific outcome. As long as you're not asking them to tell you what you want to hear. You have to trust they're going to show you, tell you, communicate with you exactly what you need to know. And it may or may not be what you want to hear. So don't be attached to that outcome. I don't know how many times I have had a client come to me who will get so upset with me if I don't tell them what they want to hear. And I just kind of go, well, you know what? That's the way it is. I can only give you my impressions. Same thing if you're getting a message from universe in other places. You can only get the message they want to share with you. Now I'm just checking to see some comments here on Facebook. Hi, Tiffany. Nice to see you. Hi, Arlene. Doris, thank you. I love to take pictures when I'm down here in Florida because, at home there's snow. So it's much better here. Yes, Doris also says, I say everything happens the way it's supposed to. And we are going to be talking about that in a minute. So I'll go back to my planned ideas here. Everything you experienced in the past and everything you're experiencing now is uncertain or has been uncertain. Everything. We are not born with all-knowing. We all aren't born, even if we're psychic, even if we get impressions and premonitions, we don't get them for every single thing. So we are not born this way. So we all experience this uncertainty. And not to scare anybody, the next second is uncertain and the next minute is uncertain. There are no guarantees about anything. Now, just a brief mention of the different kinds of uncertainties, because we have those simple ones, I'm uncertain if my car is going to start, can be a big deal or not be a big deal. It depends on your situation. But we do have those profound ones, the ones where we're struggling with loss, the loss of a job, a relationship, or we're struggling with grief after we've lost somebody important to us because they passed to the other side. We have the profound ones of a serious health concern or a serious challenge in that way, where we're concerned about the quality of our lives or whether survival is even going to be part of our outcome. Most of our uncertainty is also caused because we don't want to accept the situation. Uncertainty, our minds, like I said, we go to the negative. We have that negativity bias. So we naturally gravitate towards negative outcomes. And that's why we attach to a specific outcome, because we're trying to counteract all of those negative outcomes that could come into our lives. We don't want to accept these situations, so we resist them because they're unpleasant. Natural, isn't it? Now, Michael J. Fox, as you know, has Parkinson's disease. And he said it took a really long time for him to get to the point of acceptance. He said that acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding and dealing with it straightforwardly. That's a great quote. Resignation means and implies that we are giving up and feeling powerless. For Michael J. Fox, acceptance was the understanding that he can't change his situation, but he still has the power to decide how he's going to respond to his situation. With my infertility struggles, like I said, I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to move into acceptance. I didn't know that I had the power to change how I was feeling. I thought I was stuck in the emotions. I didn't know I could get out of it. Now, of course, I've been on my self-discovery path for quite a long time now. And that episode of infertility was before I had stepped on my path. So I didn't know any better then. Okay, I'm just going to check the comments before I continue. Step out of ego. Julie's saying, I've been feeling so overwhelmed lately. I wish I could stop worrying so much. Hopefully I can tell you some things, Julie, that will help you, because I myself can also get stuck in that worry. And once we step on that path of worry and stress, we have to figure out a way to break that pattern and reprogram ourselves so we don't get stuck in there. So hopefully some of the things I think I'm going to talk about might help you. And Mick is saying it's difficult, requires a step out of ego. Yes, we have our own plans. When we're in our ego, we have our plans. We want what we want, and we want it now. And as we become more self-evolved, we realize that we really don't have control. We can take action and move towards goals and dreams, but we can't control the uncontrollable. We just can't. So we have to learn this. Life experience happened for you, not to you. That is so accurate. One of my most favorite things to talk about, but I won't digress on that right now. So now I want to give you some ideas. 3 steps, actually, only 3, because I want you to remember them. They're short and sweet. 3 steps to help you handle uncertainty and the fear of the unknown. 3 steps. Simple, simple. The first one, and this is the one that I always miss, and I think many people do. I didn't honor my emotions. We need to honor our emotions. I'm sure that Michael J. Fox had to work through many, many emotions before he got to that state of acceptance. We resist the situations, but we also resist the emotions. We don't want to feel them, and that's why we get stuck. If we would listen to the emotions, see what the emotions are telling us, that can help us start to process them and move forward. With my infertility, and I keep going back to that because it's a good story, but with that, if I had decided or realized I should have felt my emotions, I should have gotten out of counseling to have somebody guide me through that. But I didn't want to face them. I was afraid if I did, if I really looked at my fear of how I was going to feel and looked at all of those emotions, I was afraid that more emotions were going to come up and they were going to be even more challenging. And that if I did that, then I would have to face my fear of, what if it doesn't work out the way I want to? I would have had to face that. And to face that fear, then I would have had to step in that emotion. How would I feel and how would I move forward with that? I would have had to do it. I felt like if I looked at all of these things, I would have gone into a downward spiral I could not have gotten out of. I would have been stuck there. I would have gone down, 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 and I couldn't gotten out. So the only solution for me at that point was to ignore them. Ignore them, deny them, don't pay any attention. I didn't know that if I felt those emotions and allowed them to come up, allowed myself to cry, scream, yell, whatever I had to do to move those emotions, that was the only way to process them. And when I would have done that, if I could have done that, it would have changed my energy. It would have cleared my energy out and I would have had more clarity. And with that clarity, I would have been better able to handle the situation, but I also would have gotten back into a more positive mindset where I could be able to look at different options, different opportunities. I would have recognized I had no control over that physical situation. I could do what I could to make it happen, to encourage it to happen, but I also had to move into those emotions. It was a real struggle for me to learn to recognize my emotions. It was very hard for me to look at things in a different way. Now, I want to make sure I finish my story of this infertility, because as I struggled with this, and it was huge, I knew the depths of despair, and I don't mean to be dramatic, but that's what it was. Eventually, I had to start looking at different options, and I was so blessed to be able to adopt my first child, my son Ben. He's amazing, and it's always fun when Ben and I are out someplace, because people try to figure out how we're connected, because he's a big man, and he's so tall and burly and everything, and does not look like mine. I'm a small little thing, and so it's always fun. But I was so blessed to be able to adopt my son. And it was a real positive event for me. And then I went on to get pregnant with my second child, my daughter. And so I wanted to finish the story so you realize that eventually things do work out here. I wish I had known that when I was going through these years-long struggle with infertility. I wish I had known that. But now I get the pleasure of looking back and going, oh, look at how much I learned from that. I am so lucky to have learned that. Now, a way to honor your emotions is to name them. Just name them. Back then, I only thought there were two emotions, happy and sad. I didn't know there were a whole bunch of other emotions out there: bliss, joy, anger, frustration, irritation, obsession, all sorts of things. I didn't know that. So we get jumbled in our heads and we don't even know what we're really feeling. So if we would honor what we're really feeling, that begins the process of moving through them. I always tell my clients to, rather than saying I'm sad, say that I am experiencing the feelings of sadness. Because when we say I'm experiencing the feelings of sadness, we step back just a little bit, and we're in the more observational capacity, where it can help us acknowledge it and then move forward. If we say I am sad and we don't continue moving on with that, we may start to get in there a little too much and drown. We'll recreate that worry or whatever emotion we're doing. So I say, I'm experiencing feelings of sadness. I'm experiencing feelings of hopelessness. And I'm experiencing feelings of worrying obsessively, and I can't stop. I'm experiencing this. So when you name them, it's easier to process them. You can take the emotions and see them for what they are. These emotions are here because that's how we live our lives. We live our lives from our emotions. That's how we're experiencing everything that's happening. We're experiencing everything in our heads. So we want to experience those emotions, but we don't want to get stuck there in the negative ones, particularly. I don't mind being stuck in happy ones, but negative ones, I do want to figure out a way to release them. So process and honor your emotions. That's the first step. The second step is to accept that uncertainty is there and trust that everything you're experiencing is the way it's supposed to be. It's there for you. Trust the process of life. One of my big messages is always, whatever happens to you is an opportunity for you to learn more about yourself, to practice becoming the best version of who you are. You're trusting that whatever is there, that there's a bigger picture. You may not know the answer. You may not know what the big picture is, but there's a big picture, and I believe there is a reason for everything. Now, I am going to check messages and comments because I haven't done that in a bit. And if you are just joining, I'm Colleen van der Zijden. This is Lily Dale Radio, and we are talking about handling uncertainty. What we resist persists, yes. Christine is saying, I've given up what I thought it was supposed to be, but I don't know how to move ahead, like so stuck. And so many of us were brought up that we need to have a plan. We need to know how we're going to move forward. We want to know what our next steps are. The ultimate in accepting uncertainty is to accept that we don't know what our next steps are. We don't know. And we are going to trust that the universe is going to guide us. We are going to trust that it's going to be shown to us which direction to go. We're going to, if something happens around us and we have a feeling of let's walk over there, let's go talk to that person, whatever it is, that we follow those feelings because we don't know where they're going to lead. So we trust that anything that happens, something that catches our interest. We follow it, and maybe it will lead to something else and lead to something else. And before you know it, you'll have moved out of being stuck because you trusted the universe to bring it to you. Now, the reason we don't like being stuck and not knowing which way to go is because we're back to the emotions again. So listen to the emotions, what the emotions are telling you. There is a truth in those emotions. And if you can objectively look at them, feel them, experience them, you may get a message from those, okay? If you need to cry first to move them out, cry first, move them out. And then in the space afterwards, then you can just sit and allow the message to come to you. And if it doesn't come that day, it will come. And it may come the next day. It may come while you're sleeping. Who knows? It will come. So don't fixate on feeling stuck and you don't know which direction to go. I happen to be having a lot of uncertainty in my life right now. And every day, I'm just like, I'm trusting it. I've got to trust it. It's the only way to do it. So we don't get sucked in and sucked down into those emotions. Taurus, listen to your emotions. She's saying, yes. You're welcome, Arlene. Yes, most of you probably know I will talk about just about anything in my life. I love to look back on my problems and look at how I did it wrong, and how I should have done it, and then see if I've been able to apply some of these lessons in future or upcoming or more recent past and see if they help. Let's see. I'm just skimming through real fast. Yes, trust you are led. That was my theme last year, as you know. Trust I will be led. And this year, I think I've returned to that. Trust I will be led. I tried to go to a new one, but no, it had to be this one again. So you've got to let go and allow yourself to be in the flow. Steve is saying, so what about free will? That changes things, right? You always have a choice in how you respond. You always have a choice in your actions, reactions, responses. You always have a choice. We don't always have a choice in the external situations. We don't always have a choice. Like I didn't choose, well, maybe before I came here, I didn't choose to have infertility in my relationship there. So we can't choose some of those things, but we have free will with how we respond. And like I was saying with Michael J. Fox, he realized he had a choice in his response. He had a choice in how he was going to respond to this very challenging situation, life-changing, quality-changing, everything for him. And so he had that choice. So people can choose to stay stuck and worry, or they can choose not to. They can choose to be nice or not, whatever it is. So we always have those opportunities. Now, trusting. So honor your emotions, trusting. The next thing, the final step is actually acceptance. It is acceptance. And it's making the decision, the choice, making the decision to do the best you can in accepting the uncertainty. Just do the best you can. Don't judge yourself that you're still worried about something or whatever. Notice you're worried. Notice the emotions. If there's a message, get it. But choose to move into accepting to the best of your ability. And it's sometimes difficult, but we can do it and we will do it. I was talking to a good friend the other day whose daughter has stopped speaking to her. And as I was talking to her, I said, this would be a good story for my radio shows or my book or something. But it's been over 3 years now that her daughter is not speaking to her. My friend has no idea why her daughter's not speaking to her. She doesn't know what she might have done to contribute to the situation, and her daughter won't tell her. Now, my friend sent an email to her daughter and just said, I'm really sad that we're no longer communicating, and I'm sorry if I did something to offend you or hurt you. I hope that we can reconnect at some point. Apparently, I did do something, but I don't know what it is, so I'm sorry. So she didn't get a response from her daughter, but she heard from her son, who said he had talked to the daughter and heard that my friend was rude in her email. Now, my friend read her email to me, and it was not rude. It was expressing herself in a kind way. She was very tactful, very... I don't even know the other word I want to have, very giving, I guess, in taking responsibility, even though she doesn't know what it is, and saying, I'm trying. Now, the reason I was talking to her was that she wasn't sure which direction to go next. Should she try again? Should she try to straighten out this new problem where her daughter thought she was rude? And as I talked to her, I was talking about, everyone has their own perceptions of situations and interactions, and we can't control another person. We can't make someone else see how we feel and experience and even understand it. And as we were talking, she said for her own mental health, she thought she had to let it go and move into acceptance. And she was working very hard to move into honoring her emotions. She was honoring her emotions to herself and recognizing what was important to her. She did let her daughter know how she was feeling in a nice way. So it was important to honor those emotions. And then she had to realize she couldn't change the situation. She had to trust that whatever is happening, that there may be a bigger reason for it. There may be a bigger picture. She doesn't know if she'll reconnect with her daughter or grandchildren again. She just doesn't know. And I've had several clients who have experienced this. And it's so very sad when I talk to my friends and I talk to my clients who have these family divisions, and especially if they don't know the cause. You can't apologize and fix it if the other person or people are not open to allowing that to happen, and they're not open to that. So it can be particularly challenging for people who are going through a horrible situation like that to move into the state of acceptance, because they have to grieve the loss. There is a loss there. And so we have to honor those emotions, but trust there is a bigger picture. And trust, my friend also talked about trusting herself, that she knew she was doing the best she can. And she knew she didn't want to regret and say, oh, I should have, I could have. She wants to know she did everything in her power to be able to fix the situation. So she began the process of moving into acceptance by honoring and trusting, and then making the decision to move forward so that she could, for her own mental health, she had to move into acceptance. And for her, it's just like Michael J. Fox. Acceptance is understanding the situation to the best of your ability and then dealing with it straightforwardly. You do what you have to do. We can't change something we have no control over. We can't. So that is a foundational belief that might be, if you haven't considered that yet, you may want to consider it. We can't change something we have no control over. We can only change our response. So if you're dealing, I'm going to check comments again, and I'll just do my little advertisements here. You can connect with me at psychicmediumcolleen.com, or be brave and spell my name, ColleenVanderzijden.com. Follow me on Facebook if you haven't yet. Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach, lilydaleassembly.org. And if you haven't signed up for the mailing list, you should do that. That way you'll know what's happening all of the time. And Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook, and they're posting events and all of those things. They're starting to post the summer events. So if you haven't checked out their Facebook page yet, I do recommend you do that, and that will help you plan your summer. I'm already getting people calling me for summer appointments. I have to adjust my online scheduler and put in, you can pay at your appointments again. I'll try to get to that in the next few days, but I am doing that. So I'm checking the comments here. Julie, I'm in PT for my shoulder right now. They keep telling me to relax and trust them with my arm. I just cannot relax. Driving me crazy. Julie, after I had my car accident in 2000, I think it was in 2009, I had a problem. I broke my collarbone, and I had a problem. There was like a click in there, and I couldn't fix it. And I ended up doing tapping with somebody, and it disappeared. The clicking, it was fixed almost immediately. You might want to try some tapping on being able to let go and trusting them to help you, maybe helping you figure out, as you go through the comments with the tapping, you might find out what's blocking you from relaxing fully into the situation. You might find that out. So that might be fun to try. Hi, Anne. Nice to see you. Hello, everybody. Metamorphosis. I just love saying that. The opportunity to work on things may just come at the worst possible time if we are not honest about why we have set boundaries. Oh my goodness. You must know what I was writing in my book today. I talked about my vagueness with boundaries today. That is really funny. Yeah, when we have these problems, these negative situations, and we get stuck in the uncertainty and the fear of the unknown, it seems like it goes in cycles. Have you noticed that? We'll have a whole bunch of things happen at once. It won't be just one thing we're uncertain about. It'll be two or three. And if one of them is a bigger one, it may influence how we respond to the rest of our lives. So where we may feel like everything is wrong, and we don't look at things factually. So sometimes we've got to step back a little bit and just kind of look at things in the facts of the situation, so we don't get stuck in that fear. That's another thing that can help. Look at me, just coming up with all these things. Uncertainty has been my topic for some reason the past few weeks. Oh, good. Nice to see you. I'll be happy to see you next summer, Abby. Anne is saying, I have a business opportunity being offered to me, but very unsure of the situation and their motivation. Listen to your gut, Anne. Listen to your gut. Get more information, get as much information as you can, but listen to your gut. We're trained, the human condition, one of my other favorite things I love to talk about. We've been trained to listen to people's words and not feel the feelings behind them, not go with the gut. It may be a good situation or it may not be. We don't really know, do we? So it is uncertain. So get the information and take some time and sit with it. It's interesting you mentioned motivation, because apparently I'm going to touch into that for a second. It's interesting you mentioned motivation because there's a feeling of an ulterior motive there. I feel like they're trying to express things one way, but there's really another thing they're really wanting to do. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. So it feels like there's two ways they're looking at this. Make sure you do enough conversation and listen to your gut on that. Okay. Doris is saying, when people can't control you, then they punish you by ghosting you. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, I won't touch that one, but that goes in the end of my book. Actually, I was talking about that when I was writing with that. And Metamorphosis is saying the name suits how she's feeling much more than your real name. Yes, and aren't we all in a metamorphosis, really, when it comes down to it? We're all growing and learning and transforming into our best selves. Isn't that what we're doing? Metamorphosis, loving it. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. So if you are dealing with uncertainty, you're dealing with negative situations where you're doing the negative what ifs, these strategies, these steps to get you out of being stuck in the negative. If you're dealing with it and you're stuck in the emotions, remember to honor your emotions, honor them, name them so that you can work through them. I think I told this story before, but in case you haven't heard it, I'm going to tell you again. I went to a conference back in, I don't even know, 2002 or something, or 3. And it was a workshop where we were confronting our worst fears. And this one exercise, we were confronting our worst fears. And so we would express whatever that was. And what would happen is this one person in my group, she thought she was a bad mother. So she would say, I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad mother. So we were facing the fear. So she was facing her belief that she was a bad mother. She said it over and over and over again until the emotional reaction came up. And so everybody who was doing this ended up crying and all sorts of things. So the emotional reaction came up. But after the emotional reaction came up, she stopped and she looked at us and she said, I'm not a bad mother. I did the best I could. I worked really hard to provide for my children. So her being willing to face the emotion of her thought, this negative thought that was weighing on her, repeating it over and over, owning it, owning this idea, allowed the emotions to come up and out. And if we allow our emotions to come up and out, we do get clearer. It can totally change our perspective. Honor them, process them, name them. It helps you move through it. Be brave, okay? Be courageous. Courageous is not fearless. Courageous means we do it anyway. We're willing to look at whatever it is, the worst case scenario. We're willing to look at it. We're willing to look at the fear and learn whatever we have to. So the emotions, then you're going to trust the process. There's a bigger picture. We don't know the big picture all the time. We really don't. So there's a bigger picture. Trust it. Trust that whatever you're feeling, you're supposed to be feeling. Trust that wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. Trust that if you're feeling stuck and you don't know which way to go, you're supposed to be feeling it. It's a big leap for some of us to trust every single thing in our lives. If we're confused, trust the confusion. Maybe the confusion is saving you from something. Maybe being stuck and not knowing which direction to go is saving you from making the wrong choice. Maybe you're just waiting for the right choice and you don't know you're right waiting. Totally different perspectives here. There's lots of ways to look at things. Okay, comments again. I love to look at the comments. Amber, my job is great, but my loved one has a rare disease and not doing well. I still have hope for him. When we have someone who is seriously ill, that is, and whether it's ourselves or somebody else, that is one of our bigger challenges. Because we do have that one outcome in mind. We can still have that outcome. We can still have the hope. I'm never going to tell you not to have hope and not to have an outcome in mind. However, keep it open that we're going to trust the bigger picture, again, that we don't know. Trust that. Interesting. Yeah. So Amber, I guess I'm going to touch in with you. I don't know. I guess I'm doing a mix of things tonight. Some of the symptoms and stuff he's having, I'm feeling a lot of pain, inflammation. I'm feeling, I want to say constrictions. Okay, so there's something with constrictions there, and I'm feeling a release with that. So if there is some kind of a medical treatment that he's going to be trying or something, I am feeling a release. So I do want to tell you that. And you just keep giving him hope too, as best as you can as well. Yes, we will all send love to that. The coronavirus is a big fear. Yes. Yeah, it is. Whenever something happens in the macros around us, the bigger consciousness, it's very easy to have those fears feed off of each other. And within ourselves, that will amplify our own fears for our own situations as well as the bigger ones too. So we have to always, the answer to everything is always to be strong in ourselves. Always know who you are, know what you want, know who you want to be. Always. I know that's easier said than done, but this is what I teach. Okay. So, that's what I teach you. I'm teaching you how to do this. So there's so much of that as well. Okay. Check and comment some more.
90
oh
seconds.
goodness. So, Barb, since this is actually, a big fear of yours, I'm assuming, or maybe I shouldn't be assuming this, that you haven't been to China, to that area and that stuff, but you also have, Barb, you also have a very big heart. And you have a lot of love for other people and a lot of concern for them. It's who you are. You feel them. You have a great deal of empathy. So you might need to learn to protect your own energy a little bit. Acknowledge the fear, yes, but obviously we can't do much about that. But the virus. But acknowledge that, and then just come back to yourself and move into the trust that it is what it is, and you can send love. I mean, we're not helpless and we're not hopeless here. We can send love and healing to everyone, everywhere in the whole world and beyond. We can send love, and that may be a good focus for you, actually, Barb. I'm a little slow with what I'm saying here. That might be a good focus for you to move your energy into that positive, so you feel like you're taking action, because you are taking action and helping other people. Okay. Yes, metamorphosis. How boring would life be if we could see the whole picture at once? Exactly. How boring would it be? How boring would it be if we knew what was always going to happen? So uncertainty is really a gift. It's a gift. It's something that we should be looking forward to, anticipating. Yes, rather than dreading it or thinking the worst. Yes. Ah. Darlene, my son passed in December. I'm having trouble sleeping and a lot of emotional dreams. Any tips? Well, Darlene, that hasn't been that long. If your son passed just a couple of months ago, you are still in I call it survival mode after someone has passed. And I'm so sorry to hear about your son passing. I do want to say that. I'm so sorry about that because it's made such a big hole in your life and so many other people's lives. And for the dreams and the trouble sleeping is very natural because your brain, your inner mind, your soul is trying to rebalance you, is trying to help you process a very difficult, overwhelming situation. So that is it's normal, natural, okay? We don't necessarily want to resist it, although I know we all would, because we need to sleep and emotional dreams they're difficult and we don't want to experience that. I would recommend, having a notebook or something where you can write some of your emotions in there, some of your thoughts and your ideas, and kind of purge them a little bit before you go to sleep. But as you do this, I would suggest that ending that with love yous. I love you. I'm so happy you were in my life. I'm so happy you were my son. I'm so proud of you for this and that and whatever it is you want to say to him to acknowledge how important he was to you. I would end the purging of emotions with how much you love him and all of that. And if that brings up more emotions, that's fine too. And as you do this, what will happen is you're sending your energy out and you're connecting with him. And that connection never leaves you, of course. And that connection will bring you some peace. So I would suggest doing that and allow what you're feeling. I'm actually doing a grief workshop this summer at Lilydale. We are having a grief weekend there. July, I think it's the weekend of the 18th. So we have a guest speaker coming in talking about grief and all sorts of things. I'm going to be talking about processing the emotions after experiencing grief, whether it's a grief of a loved one, the loss of a relationship, whatever kind of grief people have. I'm going to be talking about processing the emotions there and honoring them. And I'll have, of course, some strategies, but also so many times when we're in grief, we don't want to show it to other people because it makes them uncomfortable. Other people don't know how to support us in grief. We just don't know how. We haven't really learned it. And one thing that I'm going to be talking about is to feel free to express your grief to people. Find the right person who will let you vent, cry, talk, all of that. And that can help. Okay, I've gone off on grief, but I hope some of those thoughts can help you, Darlene, because I really send my love to you during this situation. Very difficult time. And you know, of course, if you're listening to Lilydale's show, you know that they're still around us, but it's not the same as having them physically present. And we know this. So that's okay. My friend lives in Colorado. Are you going to be there anytime soon? No. If somebody invites me to go out and do something out there, I might go. I could teach a workshop out there or something. You're so sweet. I'm looking to see what else I need to know. Okay, Amber. This is the one, if you were following everybody, her loved one is ill. He pukes every day for the last few years. He went from 107 to 102. He can't keep anything down. He can't come up with his insides are shutting down because he has a strong heart and he's too young. There's a constriction. I'm not a medical person. I can't diagnose nor prescribe. There's my disclaimer. There's a constriction. Something is constricted. Okay. I can feel the pressure. I can feel it. I can feel it pressing. I can feel it pressing. So I'm assuming they've done all the tests, the MRIs, and all of that stuff. I might want to have people do a visualization on space, inner space. And Amber, if it's okay with you and him, I can send him healing. Okay. You let me know if you want me to send him healing. I do distant healing, and sometimes amazing effects happen. It's something else. I still am amazed. I've been doing it for years and I'm still amazed. But if you want me to send healing to him, I will do that. So let me know. I want your permission. Okay. Moving on. Living the dream is my go-to. Yes. Yes. I can't even say it. Coronavirus is inflated propaganda. That's an interesting concept, perspective, because somebody told me the other day, and I don't know if this is true, so I don't want to be like spreading anything, but somebody told me the flu has killed more people than that has, but I don't know if that's true. But anytime there's a new illness or something, virus out there that seems to spread very easily and they don't really have a way to heal people, it tends to get, what can I say? Profound propaganda. I don't want to say propaganda. It tends to spread very quickly. Not the illness, the news spreads very quickly. And because it's new and they're not quite sure how to handle it. Okay. So, yeah, they checked his gallbladder. Yes. So Amber, Metamorphosis is asking if they checked his gallbladder numbers. Well, that's an interesting thought. Oh, Amber's saying, okay, you'd love the healing. Okay, good. I don't mind sending healing to people. Actually, I like sending healing to people, but I want to make sure I have permission, of course, because I don't want to intrude in somebody else's personal space. I can send it out there and put it at their feet, as we say. But if he's open to that healing, then I can do that. Okay, how long have I talked? Oh, look at me, talking. I am talking a lot today. Yes, so very interesting. There's so much uncertainty out there, and it is, Nick is saying, the virus will never spread as fast as the fear surrounding it. We are living in such a fear-based time. That could take me off for another whole half hour, but I won't go there. We are just living in such a fear-based time. If we can be secure, as best to our abilities, of course, in who we are, and if we don't even know who we really are, and many of us don't, we're always evolving, changing, just focus on one thing, love. Love. Just focus on love. Love yourself, love other people. That's all you have to do. Simplicity is always best. Love brings in the positive energies, and for each one of us who raises our vibration and connects with the vibration of love, peace, joy, those things, we are only going to help everyone else who is stuck in the fear. And so many times I'm talking about fear of uncertainty, but there's a million fears out there, and we get stuck in there, and I don't want people to get stuck. So focus on the simplest thing of love. Love, 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 love. It will work. And literally, if you set your intention in the morning, I'm going to focus on love today. And anytime you start to feel that fear, just get right back to it. That's the simplest and easiest way to raise the vibration. That is the simplest and easiest. You can remember that one, right? Okay, I'm watching from work. I hope you're having an amazing night, and thank you for helping. Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Yes, they did, but he started to puke. So they had to stop the test. Okay. Jessica, look, we're giving you all medical advice. I don't know if any of us are doctors, so but they're saying OVA. I don't know what that is. And parasite test and colonoscopy. So I'm sure your doctors, his doctors, have probably checked so many different things. But yes, I keep going back to that constriction. It's so strong to me. So when I work on him, I will do it tomorrow. Feel free to give me an email. Okay, Colleen at ColleenVanderzijden.com. Feel free to give me an email if you want to touch base with me. Let me know how he's feeling, anything like that. And then I can tell you what I felt and if I get any suggestions for improvement. Okay, Amber. Let's see, Patricia, if someone believes they are speaking to those who have gone on How does anyone determine the determine the validity, or is it mental illness? Ooh. Ooh. I know that there are some people who are involved in psychiatric fields who believe that those of us who talk to the dead are having a psychiatric mental illness problem. I talk to the dead. I don't think I have a psychiatric mental illness problem. And I know many people who do. I've seen too many things happen in a reading that there's no way I could have known them myself. There's no way. So I know it's possible. The energy that permeates all of life includes the other side because the energy is still there. We are part of the energy of all things. The other side, this side, it is one. So that energy is all there. Patricia, there are some people out there who are suffering from mental illness in different ways. So we always have to be discerning and remember to check in with our own gut, with our own intuition, okay? It can be scary sometimes if people start channeling people from the other side and they didn't expect it, didn't know anything about it, and they might question their own sanity. But if there's verification for the information, then we know that it's not a mental illness. Any communication from the other side also should be positive, inspiring, and uplifting. That doesn't mean that we won't address a problem somebody's having in their lives, but it should be inspiring and uplifting and healing. If someone claims to be a medium or someone who has a mental illness claims to be a medium, either works for me, and they come through with negative things, like they say, you're cursed, that's not mediumship. Or if they say, well, you need to, go kill somebody, that's not mediumship. Anything that comes through as negative is not mediumship. So there's a little bit of a way to discern if that's any help. More comments, and then I probably should stop talking. Colonoscopy. I want to support if they are feeling those channels of communication. However, so many other indicators reflect mental illness, but he believes otherwise. Now, okay, here's something of concern. Somebody who works in the field of a mediumship, we're connected to the other side. If we are not grounding ourselves here in the physical, and we are meant to be living in the physical, okay, that means we are grounded. We are experiencing our physical lives. We are not over on the other side talking to dead people 23 hours a day. We're not doing that, okay? If someone is not grounding themselves, if they are not living here in the physical, they're spending too much time on the other side, so to speak, they can start to get unbalanced mentally. Okay, so if that is the case, that is something to consider. There's a fine line between being balanced with the other side in here and being too far over there. I studied with a couple of mediums a couple of years ago, and they talked about that. We have to be very careful about making sure we're living here in the present physical life. That's why we're here, to be living the physical life. Okay, it's great to go on the other side. It's great to meditate and get up in our crown chakra and be so high and happy and everything. But if we're not interacting with physical life and physical people, we're going to have problems. So if this is another person, obviously you probably don't have enough influence. So do your best to support and just be there, and you'll have a better idea probably soon enough. And stares and rude comments with grace. Yes, yes, yes. What do you do when family gives you no support? You make a new family. You find people who are of like mind and who you can talk to and who love you just the way you are, just the way you are. We can't control anybody else. We have people around us sometimes who just don't understand us. Okay, they just don't, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing. Sometimes other people are limited, sometimes we're limited. Who knows? Yes, certain family members. Yes. Build your new tribe. Yes, exactly. I take medication for depression, which hinders my ability to talk with the other side. Yes. I really despise taking medication because I don't want it to interfere with my abilities to communicate or be a clear channel for healing, mediumship, psychic, whatever I'm working with. Um, Billy, I'm getting the impression, and again, I'm not a doctor, can't diagnose nor prescribe. I'm getting the impression, though, that there's another medication that would be helpful for you. And I'm feeling as though you would be on two medications, and I feel a transition time to a different one. That seems to be strong. So I don't know, medically, I don't know. But that's what I'm feeling. And I'm also feeling, that you have not, it has not, what's the word? It hasn't blocked you from it. It's like you have a cloud here in your energy field. It's like your energy field has got cloggy. It's gotten cloggy. I'm sure that's a word. It's gotten cloggy. So I want to tell you to focus on figuring out how to clear your energy field. Clearing that. And I want to talk about color with you, using color to clear your field. And I want yellow for some reason for you. I want yellow. I want to clear your energy field because it's just clogged. It's not blocked and it's not gone. Okay. It's just clogged. So we want to clear that. I also want, oh boy, I don't know. There's a mineral, a crystal mineral, something like this that I really want for you. And it's not the typical ones. It's not quartz crystal or pink crystal. Jade. I want jade. I want jade for you. I have no idea why. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I want jade for you. So Billy, consider some of that. Consider some of what I said. It's coming from somewhere. So it may be helpful because I want to reassure you because there's not a wall. It's just cloggy. That's cool. Okay, I'll keep going. Then I probably really should stop. It's going to take me forever to edit this tomorrow with my captions. Okay. Can you see our watch group? I have about 30 friends watching you. Can you give them a quick hello if you can't see them? I don't think I can, but hello. Thank you for having a watch group, Ray. I really appreciate that. That's so much fun. Yes, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Okay, I probably should stop talking. I have talked to you guys for a long time. I had no idea that handling uncertainty would take us into all of these areas. I'm thinking next week I might talk about manifestation, how to do it, the steps, of course, because I always have steps, but the feelings and the connection to that energy and how we always have that connection of being unlimited and bringing to us what we want. We have to be careful these days, though, because sometimes when we manifest, we get it very fast, so we have to be clear. So I may talk about that. We'll see. So I do want to thank you, everybody, for watching and listening tonight. I'm Colleen van der Zijden, registered medium at Lilydale, and also a certified intuitive life coach. As a life coach, I basically just give people personal guidance on how to handle the crap of their lives. That's what I do, and I love doing it. And so that's what we do. So you can follow me at ColleenVanderzijden.com or psychicmediumcolleen.com. And of course, follow me on Facebook, Colleen van der Zijden, medium and intuitive life coach. And don't forget about Lilydale. Follow Lilydale as well, lilydaleassembly.org and Lilydale Assembly Incorporated on Facebook. Woohoo! I remembered to do all the details. Okay, just checking one more time. Hello, John. Nice to see you. And I hope I see you again. Linda, please help me. Oh my goodness. I probably should stop talking though, Linda. Exciting topic. The uncertainty of all is fascinating. It is, isn't it? Uncertainty. It just goes on and on. So, Linda, I do probably have to stop talking. Actually, my throat is starting to get a little thing. Tune in next week, and I'm sure I will be taking questions and giving my answers to the best of my ability as well. So thank you everybody for watching and listening, and I will see you next week. You have fun. Bye.